A very good evening, Sukyoto brothers and sisters in the Dharma. Welcome to MSPS Dharma Sharing Online. Today is Monday, 24th August 2020. We have with us Didi Leng Huat tonight to share the Maha Mangala Sutta chanting and explanation. This program is jointly organized by Theravada Buddhist Council of Malaysia. Over to you, Didi Leng Huat.
Sukyoto, brothers and sisters in the Dhamma, let's begin by paying tribute to the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha. So let's compose ourselves and let's recite together. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang pujemi, Dhammang pujemi, Sanghang pujemi. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So, brothers and sisters in the Dhamma, let's recite Maha Mangala Sutta before we commence with our sharing. Let's compose ourselves, and those of you with the books, let's open to the correct pages. Maha Mangala Sutta. Evang me sutang ekang samayang bhagava savatiyang viharati jetavane anata pindikasa arame hatako anyatara devata abhikantaya rattiya abhikanta vanna kevala kappang jetavanang obasetva yena bhagavate nupasangkami upasangkamitva bhagavantang abhivadetva ekamantang attasi ekamantang titako sa devata bhagavantang ghataya ajjabhasi Bahudeva manusaca manggalani acintayung akan kemana sottanang bruhi manggala muttamang asevana ca bhalanang panditanang ca sevana puja ca pujaniyanang etang manggala muttamang patirupa desa vaso ca pubbe ca kata punyata atta samma panidhi ca etang manggala muttamang bahu satcanca sippanca vinayo ca susikkito subhasita ca ya vaca etang manggala muttamang mata pitu upattanang putta dharasa sanggaho Anakula cha kammanta etang mangala muttamang Danancha dhammacariya cha nyatakanancha sangho Anavajjani kammani etang mangala muttamang Arati virati papa majjapana cha sanyamo Appamado cha dhammesu etang mangala muttamang Garavo cha nivato cha santutti cha katanyuta Kalena dhamma savanang etang mangala muttamang Khanti cha sova chassata samananang cha dasanang Kalena dhamma sakacca etang mangala muttamang Tapo cha brahmacariyan cha arya satchana dasanang Nibbana satchikiriya cha etang mangala muttamang Puttasa loka dhammehi cittang yasana kampati Asokang virajang kemang etang mangala muttamang Eta disani katwana sabbatta maparajita sabbatta sotting gaccanti tang te sang mangala muttamang te Etena sajjavajjena hotu te jaya mangalang Etena sajjavajjena hotu te jaya mangalang Etena sajjavajjena hotu te jaya mangalang Sadhu Sadhu Sadhu. So, brothers and sisters in the Dhamma, we shall now recap what we did on night number 2 as a continuation or as a continuity to this night number 4, which we are replacing for night number 3 due to some technical problems that we faced last week. So for night number 2, we introduced to you the nephew of Anatha Pindika as an example of people who move from darkness to brightness. We have discussed some people who move from darkness to brightness and darkness to darkness or brightness to darkness. So this is the example of somebody who have born in the brightness but moved to darkness. And also we have also defined for you when I refer to stanza number 2, we are not counting the introductory stanzas. Our stanza number 2 will start with Asevana Chabalanang as stanza number 1. Prior to that, those are introductory, so we did not include that as stanza number because many books will put it on different paragraphs and all that. So difficult for me to define as 1 and 2 and 3. So we start stanza number 1 as Asevana Chabalanang Panditanang Cha Sevana. Puja cha pujaniya nang etang mangala muttamang. That is our stanza number 1 as a reference for purpose of our discussion tonight. So we have also touched on the 4 types of people. I will repeat. We say people who are born from darkness and move to darkness. People who are born in darkness and move to brightness. People, many of us are last time in our time, our parents all actually had worked very hard to raise us up. So we were poor, in short. But we worked very hard on ourselves. They worked to send us to school. We moved to brightness. Now we are all quite comfortable. But our children are born in brightness, and we have to lead them to brightness again. Okay, so there's a duty of our parents. We say in Mangala Sutta, we have to guide them and make sure that they move from brightness to brightness. And don't be like the nephew of Anatha Pindika, who was born in brightness but moved into darkness. Okay. And then we also have discussed blessing number 7 as vast learning. Okay, vast learning, we say good education. We touch on perfect handicraft. Perfect handicraft, as we say that Buddhists also can appreciate aesthetic beauty. That doesn't mean that Buddhists are zombies, people who do not appreciate beauty at all. Not true. So we say highly trained discipline. We have covered pleasant speech. We have covered verse number 4, that is blessing, that is mata pitu upatanang, supporting of father and mother. We say those are very important. Okay. And then we covered blessing number 12 also. So today we will move on to stanza number 5. Stanza number 5 is Danancha Dhammacharyacha. That's stanza number 5. I hope you are following me now. So Danancha Dhammacharyacha is stanza number 5. So what is Danancha Dhammacharyacha? The word is Dana. So we must remember, when we chant, when we come to this stanza, we hear Dana means we know it is Danancha Dhammacharyacha means we're talking about Dana. So Dana, we must remember, we always say there are 4 kinds of Dana. Of course, there are many ways to present Dana, and we will spend a bit more time today on Dana because it's very appropriate, particularly during the Vasa period, where many of us will send the dana to the monks and all those things. So we will say we spend some, okay, dana means we say that material dana. Material dana can mean that we have 4 kinds of dana, we say, let's say, like example. So material dana is actually things that is material. We send material things to them. We send material things, and that's called material dana. That means we send food, we give them shelter, we give them medicine, we give them clothing, we give them transport, all those material things. So that is called also material. That's called dana. Dana, but there's material dana. Okay. So I think you can understand that quite well. Material dana, what is material dana? That is charity given with no distinction, we say. With no distinction of class or creed also, but to all. This is true dana, offer in the spirit of pure love, compassion, and service to the needy. That is dana. No giving or inferior. Sometimes people say they give us a little bit when they use us and they make bad. Then when they abuse us, or they get great returns, through our collaboration with them, and then they give us peanuts and they think that's dana but that's not dana Sometimes these people they bribe we call it sometimes in English we say it's bribery They just throw a little bit of crumbs here and there. People will do service for them. So that is not dana because that is not giving it with sincerity. But there's a name for it also Sometimes we call it dana dasa, things that people give you very inferior things so that is not sort of dana we give. Don't forget. Okay. And also sometimes we Buddhists, we give dana because we expect to earn better merits in Buddhism, we give dana to get merits, that will facilitate our better rebirth in future, we say. So that is also dana. That is, we're giving dana because we have faith in the doctrine of the Buddha. Okay? So that's called saddha dana. Saddha dana is expectation of good karma for a better rebirth. We call it that. So that is material dana that we have covered. The second kind of dana is we say is the dhamma dana. Dhamma dana, we say, we always hear people saying in Buddhism, we say gift of the Dhamma excels all other gifts. So this one we will tell you that don't wait to be an expert in Dhamma to be able to share your experience with the Dhamma. So we encourage many of our friends also, if you have got good experience with the Dhamma, how the Dhamma helps you, you can share with us, but that will inspire people. That will inspire people to do also good. People to do good, people to learn the doctrine of the Buddha. So that is also dana. So that is called the Dhamma dana. So that one is, like I've said, some of us we have a very good experience with Dhamma, how the Dhamma has helped you. Do share with your friends. This is called Dhamma dana. You share with them. Say that, by one day I went to the service and then I learned this and I learned that and I came back and I found some bliss, I was rewarded in other forms and all those things. Sometimes people do have that kind of experience. So we also, that is also part of the Dhamma dana. You share with your friends so that you encourage them to go to temple also. There's Dhamma dana. Or people who has got the better understanding of Buddhism, you want to share with the beginner, you must make an effort. In Malaysia, like what I'm trying to do today, I think I know, I have experience, I've studied the Mangala Sutta, I share with you. Does not mean I'm an expert in Mangala Sutta, but what little I know, I share with you. Because in Malaysia, we are very short of monks. We cannot, you see, in Malaysia, Buddhism relies a lot on the lay people. The lay people must come in to help. Incidentally, again, during this Vasa, we have many monks who are all in Sri Lanka. They went back in December, but they could not come back because of the MCO. So many of our monks are in Sri Lanka now. Our regular monks who come here and spend their Vasa in Malaysia, they are all now in Sri Lanka. They are not able to come. So that's why we need we need the lay people to come in to help. That's what I'm doing now. Do my little bit for the sasana. We must all come in. We appeal to all of you, those who are ready to share, please come forward. So that's called Dhamma dana. And also there's another dana, we say there is a gift of life, Gift of life, sometimes we refer to blood donation, organ donation, and all those things. Those are also gift of life. But I can also say that by observing the 5 precepts, that is also gift of life. You see why? We say panatipata veramani sikapadang samadhyami. We don't take life. What? That is one. Now we say also adina dana veramani sikapadang adina dana. What is the meaning? We don't steal. What we mean don't steal is giving life. Okay, we'll continue. Then we will tell you the environment. Okay. Then we say kame su also no sexual misconduct. That is also actually gift of life. Okay, we will come back. I will come in detail. Then we say, don't tell lies. Musawada, veramani, sikapadang, samadhyami. Also, I can tell you this is also part of giving of life. Observing the 5 precepts is also part of gift of life. And then we say, Sura Mirya, Majja Pamada Tana, don't drink. What can it mean? That means if you're in a neighborhood, people who observe the 5 precepts, your life is very comfortable. You being in the neighborhood, you have the gift of life, the gift of freedom of living there. You're not afraid to move freely there. You're not afraid to live in that environment because the people there are good. They don't kill for nothing. They don't get angry and kill you. You know that the people out there will not go to your house and steal your things. The people over there will not go and abuse your wife. People over there will not be telling lies and spreading, carrying tales. The people over there don't get mabuk and then do silly things. So that is gift of life. So our life becomes conducive in that environment. So that is why I say that that's also gift of life. Right? So gift of life also includes us observing our 5 precepts because we make life conducive for others. Make life conducive for others to live. That is also gift of life. Then we say doing service. Another dana is doing service. What do you mean by doing service? You see, in any temple, there are 3 categories of people. In any temple, there are 3 categories of people. We have got the intellectual, people who want to come and only study the Dhamma, people who want to come to discuss the Dhamma. Yes, We have got that category of intellectuals that come to the temple. We also have another category of people who would come only for spiritual value, devotional value. They only come for devotional value. They pai only. They sit there and pai every day chanting, every service they don't miss. There are also people like that. People who have faith, they come for chanting, they come for all the rituals and all these things. There is another category. We notice that there is category number 2, people who are who comes with great faith, devotional people, intellectual, devotional. And the third category, don't forget, people who are energetic, we call them. People who spend time in the kitchen to prepare the drinks and food for us, the refreshment for us. And don't forget, before your service, there are people who help to clean the place, people who set up the place. And when you leave after your devotional practice, after your meditation, there are people who clean up the place again. So these are called the energetic people. And these people are actually rendering their service. And these are called, you're doing service as a dana. Now you can also give dana through your service, through your effort. Okay, yes. Now we say we have 4 categories. Remember, we round up. We say first category, we give by material. Second category, we say gift of life. Dhamma, sorry. Second category, Dhamma as a gift. Third category, gift of life. And also people who give their services to the temple. They are also giving charity to the temple. Of course, the purpose of dana, we spend a bit more for dana because in this season, like I said, people are all giving dana, So the purpose of giving dana, to eventually get rid of your greed. You eventually, through giving of dana, you lessen your greed. Okay? So there's a purpose of giving dana. When you have lessened your greed, what happens? You continue to give dana, you are actually cultivating your compassion. Remember, giving dana to reduce your greed, but as you continue to give and give and give and give, what happens? You are actually cultivating your compassion. So your dana is to counter your greed, we say. To counter greed is to be charitable. Right? There are 3 poisons in life: greed, hatred, delusion. And our target as Buddhists is to try to eliminate or contain this greed, hatred, and delusion. So we say you give dana is to contain. To give dana is to reduce your greed, and then as you reduce your greed, you're cultivating your compassion, I say. And what's the purpose of compassion? Compassion is to counter hatred, greed, hatred, delusion. So you can also counter the second poison. Don't forget. Don't think dana is a very coarse kind of a blessing, Sometimes people say that dana is very coarse blessing. This is just the basic, the basic they say. Many people like to say basic. Not true. If you give dana, like I've said, you just go back and contemplate tonight. After the talk, go back before you or before you sleep, you think about it. True. Dana, you give and give and give, you control your greed. You suppress the greed, you eliminate your greed. That's the first purpose. Not cause, not kasa to cause, kasa, not kasa. Then as you contain your greed, reduce your greed, as you continue giving, do you know we are cultivating our compassion? Our compassion now comes up. Betul? So we are cultivating our compassion actually. So when you get a lot of compassion, you continue and give and give and give, You have reduced your greed, you're cultivating your compassion. Compassion comes up, greed reduce. What happens? You will see that you are helping to eliminate suffering. Correct? You will understand that there is suffering eventually. You understand that if you don't give, people can suffer. These people will suffer, that people will suffer. Continue to give. You will understand eventually suffering. Okay? And when you understand suffering, eventually what does it mean? You're eliminating ignorance. You are believing in the first noble truth. So that is the meaning, So don't think dana is the basic lah, brother, basic dana. No. Continue to give, particularly in this season now. In this season, the vasa, the monks don't go out for their pindapata anymore. So we must go to the temple to ensure that we offer dana to them. And this is the best time for giving dana, because dana is also one of the great blessings. Right? So it is a great blessing, not the basic. Don't tell me it's a start only, brother. No. Like I've said, now you go and contemplate and see this from this angle. Your dana reduce your greed, but you cultivate your compassion. With dana and compassion, you see suffering, you understand suffering, you continue to give, you understand suffering. And that is countering your ignorance. So that is why I want to focus on dana today, because of this kind of things. This is the vasa. We encourage you to go to the temple and offer dana more. And then, you know, when you got this compassion, I told you that lah. So that is the meaning of giving dana. So if you can understand and get rid of greed, hatred, and delusion, what else you want? That is our target actually. Correct or not? It can be done that way also lah. It's not impossible. It is possible. You give with awareness, give with mindfulness, we give it to cultivate your mind. It is possible that you can get rid of greed, you can get rid of hatred, and you can get rid of delusion. Okay, so you just think carefully. This can happen. Okay, so we have covered on your dana today. So your blessings number 15. Blessings number 15 is righteous living. Dhamma charya cha. Dhamma charya cha. Blessing number 15. That is stanza number. I just want to make sure that you are following me closely. So stanza number 5. Okay, still stanza number 5, blessing number 15. It's called righteous living. Dhamma charya cha. Righteous living is to adhere to your 5 precepts lah. Remember that we don't want to kill, we don't steal, we don't tell lies, we don't commit sexual misconduct, we don't get mabuk. Okay, and that is actually righteous living lah. Through good livelihood, right livelihood. We have learned that on eightfold path, righteous livelihood. So we just maintain this, and that is what it means. I will not go in detail. And also sometimes we say you adhere to the Kalama Sutta. That is also righteous living. Kalama Sutta. And let me introduce a bit to you on Kalama Sutta lah. I'm sure many of you know what is Kalama Sutta lah. It says, don't believe in traditions, don't believe through mere hearsay, don't believe through reports. People, just because everybody says so, you must believe. Not true lah. So just because it's a tradition, you don't accept, and because it's written in scripture, it's written here, no brother, see brother, don't accept also, you must test. In Buddhism, even it's written here, brother, not written here, brother, you don't accept. You must test. That is the advice for the Buddha. Or don't just because trust that if he looks good, he looks nice, we don't trust. We must test. Even if we think that this is my teacher say one, brother, this is what Venerable say, brother. Also, we don't trust. We must test all this, The basic reason why the Buddha said this, that is important to understand. I believe that many of you know what is a Kalama Sutta. But why the Buddha says Kalama Sutta? Why did the Buddha say, you Kalamas, you get rid of all this first? Why? Because these Kalamas came to see the Buddha. Okay, they asked the Buddha. Now there are many teachers here. They came and they teach me this, they teach me that, and teach me this, teach me that. I'm confused. Which is the better one? Okay, if you go and see somebody with that mind, with a confused mind. Okay, if you go approach somebody with confused mind, preconceived ideas behind you, then you ask him for advice, you won't get very good advice. Correct? Because I came here to ask you, but my mind is already fixed, In fact, what I want you to tell me is what I want to hear. I want you to reaffirm to me what I think is right. So if you come with this kind of preconceived ideas, it doesn't help. How can the Buddha help you? When you come, I think this self-mortification is right, I must ask the Buddha lah. I think it's right lah. Nothing lah. So your mind is confused. You think that it's right. So when you see the Buddha, when the Buddha says it's not right, you also confused again. Alamak, he said not right. The Buddha said right. So that's not right. So what the Buddha meant was, when you come and see me, oh Kalamas, when you come and see me, you remove all this doctrine. You don't come with your tradition in mind. You don't come with the idea that a very learned teacher told you this. You don't come and tell me this. All this you leave behind. You must come with an empty mind. Come with a clear mind. Come and ask me for advice. Then I give you advice. Then it makes more sense because your mind is open. Correct? For instance, when you come here to listen to this Kalama Sutta, now I just explain to you Kalama Sutta. I know lah, brother. I know lah, brother. Don't tell lah, brother. I know lah, brother. So it's difficult. But you remove all this and you listen. What is the purpose of Kalama Sutta? Now you understand, right? You remove all this so that your mind is clear. Then you seek advice. You can absorb that advice. So that is the meaning of the Kalama Sutta. So if you want to live a good life, so living a good life is actually also adhering to the Kalama Suttas. Don't always go and be confused yourself and then ask, my teacher this, ask my teacher that. You want to ask, you come with a clear mind. Then you can get very good answers. I have also encountered a lot of people who come to ask you things, but they actually want you to reaffirm what they believe, They come with a preconceived idea that this is right. Brother, like that, correct or brother? When brother says not correct, they're confused again. So how? Brother says not right, that brother says right. So you must come with a clear mind and ask brother, what are the highest blessings? Very simple. When the Devas were confused, they came down and they asked the Buddha, what is the highest blessing? Correct. They don't want to confuse the Buddha and say, people say this, people say no. What are the, I told the Buddha says, these are the 38 highest blessings. Very clear. They took the 38, they contemplate, right, accept. Not right, don't accept. Simple. Correct. So that is the meaning of the Kalama Sutta. The purpose of the Kalama Suttas is for you, whenever you go and see your religious teacher or you seek for advice, you must clear your mind. Go with a clear mind, then you can see things correctly. So that is blessing number 15. Kalama Sutta meant that. The purpose of Kalama Sutta. That is the purpose of the Kalama Sutta. Okay? And blessings number 19. Blessing number 16. Number 16 is, let me read to you. Number 16 is Nyata Kanancha Sangaho. Correct? That means you say helping relatives. Helping relatives also, you must have your limit. That is why I referred to you on the Anatta Pindika story last week about his nephew. The reason is for you to understand that sometimes you can help, but there is a limit to your help. Okay, you cannot continue helping, and then there's no end to helping. So our friend, Mr. Anatta Pindika, helped his nephew with a lot of money, but he still didn't improve. He didn't help, and the poor nephew was found dead. So he felt very guilty, asked the Buddha. Buddha says, don't worry. Even you are given to him again and again, he was still end up that way. So sometimes we must know the limit of help also. But we must help our relatives, We must help, but we must know the limit of our help and try to get him out of that habit better. Not only material help, So blessing number 17, I may have to go a bit fast. So blessing number 17, it is called blameless actions. Blameless actions. Anavajani Kamani. So blameless actions, basically it is do unto others what you want others to do unto you. That is called blameless actions. And also to be disciplined, please. We have to be disciplined. Blameless actions mean discipline during the MCO, during the RMCO. There are SOPs to follow. We must follow, and that is the meaning of being the blameless action. We know that to follow this is good for us and good for others. Like I've said before, good for us, good for others, we do. Good for others, not good for us, don't do, that's foolish. Good for us and not good for others, don't do, that's selfish. So that's what it means. Huh? Good for you and good for others. The SOP definitely is good for us and good for others. It's a respect for others. So we must do. Okay? So that's what blameless action is all about. Okay? So for the SOPs, remember, we must do. Okay? We must adhere to the SOP. So now we go to stanza number 6. Stanza number 6 is about Arati Virati Papa. So Arati Virati Papa is Arati Papa means to cease from evil. Virati Papa means abstain from evil. So you combine them. They just say they combine, you know. Some books will put this as one blessing, but never mind. We use as two. We say Arati Papa, cease from evil. Virati Papa, abstain from evil. Arati Virati Papa. Exactly in Dhammapada verse 183, there is Sabba Papa Seakaranang Kusala Seupasampada. Sachitta Pariyoda Panang Etang Buddhana Sasanam. That what it means is avoid evil, do good, purify your mind. These are the teachings of all the Buddhas. Okay? And this is actually the very basic and core teachings of all the Buddhas. In one organization in Seremban called the Sudama, the mission is ABC, simple. The mission is ABC, meaning they avoid from evil. B is to be good. A is avoid evil, B is be good, and C is cultivate your mind. It is actually Sabba Papasa Akaranang Kusalasa Upasampada Sachitta Pariyoda Panang. That's all. That's what it meant. So Arati Virati Papa is to cease from all evil and abstain from all evil. And that is the teachings of all the Buddhas. We must practice this. And that is the greatest blessing the Buddha says. Okay? So avoid evil, you understand. Avoid evil through body, speech, and mind. Okay? So we'll move on to blessing number 20. Blessing number 20 is called forbearance with respect to intoxicant. They refrain from intoxicant. Okay, number 20 means refrain from intoxicant. Majjapana cha sanyamo. We avoid from intoxicant. And then blessing number 21, steadfast in virtue. Okay. Appamado cha dhammesu. Okay. That means we steadfast in virtue. What is the virtue we're talking about here? Virtue, you know we don't do, we must adhere to our 5 precepts. We must adhere to our good sila, you know, and those are very virtuous the virtuous things But okay, in short, I want to direct you to this. You know what virtues are okay? To be good, to be grateful, to have gratitude, not to observe the 5 precepts. Now, the important thing here is we must reflect on the qualities of the Buddha as his virtue. Meaning to say that when we chant, Itipiso Bhagava Arahang Samma Sambuddho Vijja Charana Sampanno Sugato Loka Vidu Anuttaro Purisa Dhamma Sarati Satta Deva Manussanang Buddho Bhagavati. We reflect on the virtues of the Buddha. We continue to reflect on the virtues of the Buddha. That is, he's a Arahang, he's a Samma Sambuddha, he's the teacher of gods and men, he is the tamer of all kinds of things, you know. So we reflect on the virtues of the Buddha. And the Buddha's virtue is stated here as Vijja Charana Sampanno. Okay, and what is the virtue of the Buddha here? It means the virtue of the Buddha here means that whatever the Buddha tells you not to do, he doesn't do. Okay, when the Buddha says this is wrong, don't do, he doesn't do. Okay, and whatever the Buddha doesn't do in front of you, he doesn't do behind you. Okay, if he is not a hypocrite or he's not an actor, behave well in front of you, but when you are not around, he does something else. No, That is not the Buddha, okay? The Buddha is a person who maintains his virtue in front of you or behind you. You must have that in mind. And let this becomes an inspiration to you. Okay, so when you contemplate on the virtues of the Buddha, you chant iti piso bhagava arahang samma sambuddho, your mind. Okay, continue. Vijja charana sampanno sugato loka vidu anuttaro purisa dhamma sarati satta deva manusanang buddho bhagavati. Continue. Many times you contemplate on the virtues of the Buddha. You can do it in English if you want to, but sometimes it's very melodious we do in Pali. Huh? So you continue to chant and continue, what happens? Your mind actually becomes straight, your mind will go straight to the path of the Tathagata, then you will get a sense of goal. You will understand that you have a goal to achieve, correct? And then you will get joy, you will gain joy, it says. It says here that you will gain joy. In this sutta, it says when you do that contemplation of the virtues of the Buddha, then you will gain joy. Okay? And with this joyfulness, rapture will arise. Okay? When rapture arises, what happens? Your body becomes calm. Okay? When your body is calm, you experience ease. Correct. And when you experience ease, your mind becomes concentrated, and that is samadhi. Okay. So remember, you will focus, and your mind you will know that now you have a goal to achieve. Your body, so your mind will go straight to the path of the Tathagata. Remember, you are going to his path, and then a sense of the goal comes in. Then you gain joy when you see the Buddha's, chant the Buddha's virtue, joy arises, rapture arises, body goes calm, your whole body, you are at ease, then your mind becomes concentrated. That is why we want you to focus on this also. You must remember, we say that steadfast virtue is to contemplate on the virtues of the Buddha, and also contemplate on the virtues of the Dhamma, the same, and contemplate on the virtues of the Sangha. So that's very important. You must contemplate on these virtues. Okay? That is what it means here. That is blessing number 21. I intend to finish the whole sutta tonight. So we may just stretch for more than an hour today. So bear with us. Okay? So now blessings number 7. I may exceed 1 hour. So verse number 7 is blessing number 22 is called reverence. Reverence is garavocha. Garavocha, you understand now, we must revere the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. We must also respect our parents. We can revere our parents, not respect also. We revere our parents, we respect our teachers, elders. Okay? So this is all found in the Sigalovada Sutta. So you continue with this lah. So sometimes I will think about this, because I'm a very senior person. So we say that you must also respect the senior people. So what does the senior people do? Senior people, when we come to this chapter, yes, we must respect people more senior than us. Yeah, great. But we also must respect ourselves. We must behave ourselves as a senior in order to get respect from the junior. Okay? So I always, when I come to this verse, I will remember that I also must behave myself. Okay? So that I can earn that respect from others. You cannot force that respect from others. Okay? So now we go to verse number 23. It's called humility. Humility, you know lah. Humility, nivato cha means humility. Nivato cha. Verse number 7. That's blessing number 23. Humility means, you know lah, you avoid your ego lah, too much ego, then you cultivate, and then you will cultivate a lot of envy and jealousy, So the best is you follow the middle path lah. That's all it says. So when you come to this term, you hear nivato cha, humility, then what you do is you remember, you follow the middle path. Okay? Avoid your ego, avoid envy, avoid jealousy. Okay? The blessings number 24. Blessings number 24, santutti. There's contentment. Contentment. What is contentment? Contentment leads to detachment from greed. We must learn to be contented, Contentment will lead you to detachment of greed. Why? Because the Buddha says contentment comes from within, not from without. Contentment doesn't depend on external factors. Example, I've said this before. When I don't have a transport, I have to go by public transport. I have to walk in the sun to go to the bus stop, wait for the bus. And we are not, then we are thinking, wow, if I have a car, I should be contented already lah. Any car, never mind lah. Janji ada dapat kereta, I can jalan already lah, Don't have to wait for bus in the sun. Don't have to wait for buses in the rain. So we say we have a car, we are contented, correct? But when you have a car, after that, what happens? You look at your neighbor has a better car. So you're not contented anymore. That's why we say contentment comes from within, not from without. Not from that car you get contentment. No, contentment comes from within. That's what it means. So we should be happy with what little we have. We should be happy with what we have, but we have to work hard to try to achieve and improve ourselves. We can have ambition. It doesn't mean that contentment means no need to have ambition. No, we can have. But don't be attached to that ambition. We try our level best to achieve what we want to achieve. Does not mean that we must be attached to that achievement. The achievement becomes very vital to your life. No. Okay? We do our level best to succeed. This one we can talk in a different chapter one day. Today, I don't think I will drag too much on this. Okay? So that is contentment. We say contentment comes from within. You must learn to be contented from within, not from without. Don't think that, oh, it's external factors that make me happy. No. External factors does not make you happy. Yesterday, I was just with another learned friend yesterday from Seremban. We're talking about, we know of 2 cases of young people, who were not happy with their life. They took away, they committed suicide in short. So this kind of thing is not contentment from, we are saying contentment from within, not contentment from without. We must learn all this. Anyway, I'm not going to drag on that. Okay. So blessings number 25. Blessings number 25 is in stanza number 7. Gratitude, katanyuta. Okay. Santuti cha katanyuta. Katanyuta is gratitude. So you know what gratitude is. Even the Buddha, when he was enlightened, was very grateful. Gratitude was the first lesson the Buddha taught us actually. When he was enlightened, don't forget, week number 2, he stood there and he gazed at the Bodhi tree. He was content. He was grateful to the Bodhi tree who has provided him shelter during his course for enlightenment. You see, when he was seeking enlightenment, he sat under the Bodhi tree cross-legged, meditated, and the Bodhi tree provided him with a shelter. He was grateful. After the first week of enlightenment, the second week, he stood away and he gazed at the Bodhi tree. And he was very grateful that that tree has sheltered him during his course to seek enlightenment. He was grateful to that tree. So he didn't wink his eye also not there and all that. So that is the meaning of contentment. Even the Buddha was very grateful. And we must learn gratefulness. Gratefulness is also one of the virtues. So it is a great blessing. The Buddha says that virtue is a great blessing. Okay, number 26, we have opportune hearing of the Dhamma. Opportune hearing of the Dhamma. Kalena Dhamma Savanang. What is the meaning of opportune hearing of the Dhamma? Dhamma is for us to realize. Dhamma is for us to realize, in layman's terms, is to understand that we are living dangerously in this materialistic world. We forget Dhamma. Everybody is going for material today. Macam-macam kind of tipu hela coming out lah. Macam-macam orang mau tipu, macam-macam orang cari makan, macam-macam cara lah. So we become actually very materialistic lah. So we must also realize that. So timing, the number 26, it says is, hold on, 26 is the opportune hearing of the Dhamma. What does it mean, You see, yesterday I was also last weekend, Saturday and Sunday, I was attending a seminar, a workshop organized by the Theravada Buddhist Council and the Cradle people, the Cradle team. We organized a nice workshop where we met 18 different leaders from different organizations. All the leaders were there. So we were all having our discussion, So this subject of timely hearing of the Dhamma was also put in now because our main concern, we split ourselves into two groups, and both the groups came with the main concern of the Dhamma sharing, Both of the groups came with that concern. We were told to look into all these kind of rituals that we do in the temple, whether it can transform people's life or not. The ritual that you do, whether it helps the devotees to transform their life or not, or is it meant only for rituals, meant for just to fill up the calendar, or meant as only a tradition? Oh, it's a tradition, brother. We must do this katina. Oh, we must do this, in the part. Oh, we must do this. All these kind of things. So we were told to pick one of these kind of things, and then we let us see whether it has transformed people's life or not. Incidentally, we 18 of us, we brought ourselves into two groups, and both the groups chose what? No, hearing of the Dhamma. Both the groups say that what is happening today is many organizations are just randomly picking speakers. As long as they know there's a speaker passing through, they grab the speaker and invite him to give a speech. That has happened all along. Today, now, with the MCO, we go through this kind of e-sharing and all that. It's slightly better contained. Otherwise, every society, when they hear of any speakers that passes through town, they will invite them to share. If you hear another speaker, that grab. We do not have a target speaker or a target topic that we think can help our devotees. That has been overlooked. All we were focusing on filling in the slot for Dhamma speaking, Dhamma sharing, Dhamma speaking. So we are happy we can get one speaker per week. We think that our job is done. And that was what both of the groups agreed, that was not right. Because these Dhamma talk that we get from all these speakers that randomly we pick from the town does not transform our devotees. Many of them, I have heard many times now, they say, oh, the topic was, he's a good speaker, brother. I say, why good? Because I'm very deep. I say, very good. Why deep? Because I don't understand. So things that they don't understand, they say deep. So that is what we are saying. So it doesn't transform people, So what we are doing is we think that we should reorganize ourselves and get speakers to come with relevant topics better. Topics, of course, the needs are different everywhere. Does not mean that we say that, oh, this Mangala Sutta is a need for you all. No, it may be a need for those who are listening today. May not be a need for others. So everybody has different needs. So we must identify the needs and then we bring the topic. And then when we invite speakers, we try to get them to talk on these topics. How this topic can affect our people. So that is the wisdom of the leaders. They must be able to identify the needs of the people. They must know that the people need this, and with this, they can transform. That is our wisdom. And that is the wisdom of the leaders. And these leaders must choose the speakers that way. So that is our challenge today, I think. The challenge is not about filling up your calendar. Some people are very proud that they think, oh, I got brother, this week I got speaker. This month I got 4 speakers. They're very happy. No, we must see how this topic we choose can transform. Okay, that's what we meant. Okay, by timely listening to the Dhamma. Okay. So now we move on to blessing number 27. Blessing number 27 is patience. Patience is kanti. So patience is a virtue. We all know. Patience is a virtue. So I will not elaborate on patience. So actually, if you are a patient man, it will enable you to accept equanimity faster. Okay? And you don't get angry so easily. So your sensual feeling cannot be easily agitated if you're a patient man. Otherwise, it's be very easily agitated and you're very easily angered. You become very angry very easily. So we don't want that to happen. So that's why we say that patience, the Buddha says blessing is, you are a patient man is a great blessing, because the meaning is you are not easily agitated. Okay, now we go to blessing number 28. Number 28 is obedience. Obedience is so vacha sutta. Obedience, you again understand here. I think I will not elaborate much. Obedience is, of course, if you're an obedient person, it's easier for you to be taught, I guess lah. If you're an obedient person, if a teacher finds it easier to teach you, and if you're a very stubborn person, a teacher will find it more difficult lah. So obedience is the blessings lah. And then blessing number 29, it says seeing the Holy One. Sramana. Sramana means Holy One. So Holy One, it means, I mean, you go and see them when you are confused, you want some spiritual help, you want some guidance. These are good people for you to go and visit. So that is blessing number 29. The Buddha says you must visit the holy people. Okay. And then we have got blessing number 30. It says that timely discussion on the Dhamma. Again, that one is almost, I will not repeat that blessing number 26. I think I will 26 opportune hearing of the Dhamma. Lah. So timely discussion on Dhamma. It's about the same thing. We must discuss the Dhamma at the correct time. You know, sometimes we also hear stories about we Buddhists are not very well trained when we go for night visits and all that. You know. So what is, we must be able to share things timely. You know, for instance, like we want to give somebody something, so it must be timely. Like dana, you must do it timely. Meaning, if the person is thirsty, you give him water. Correct? Apa pasal you give him food, he's thirsty, he's not hungry. So you must give it timely. Kalau lapar, kita kasih makan. Kalau haus, kita kasih minum. So that is called timely. So also the Dhamma. Timely sharing of the Dhamma is also very critical. This is what we are lacking today. So we must have more forums and more workshops to discuss this. How do we attend to people who are actually, who have lost their loved ones, people who are grieving? When we go for night visits, we go for chanting. How do we console the affected members? So that is lacking today. So that's why timely talk of timely listening to the Dhamma is very important. Because during this time, we believe when somebody has lost somebody they love, of course they are stressed. Of course we understand. And also sometimes this time, the other relatives, the less closer one, the second liners, maybe this is a time for them to actually learn the Dhamma. You know, they are receptive to the Dhamma during this time. Question is, what kind of Dhamma do we want to teach them on those during those occasions? They are receptive now, you know, they're ready. But what are the Dhamma that is applicable? So that one, you have to be very careful. We have to be trained for that. I cannot just tell you now, do this. You know, tomorrow you apply wrongly, you cannot tampal and this, cannot. So that one has to be slowly trained. If I tell you, you do this, no, brother, you tell them life is impermanent, no, brother. You go there, bro, you cry, life impermanent, what? Yeah, let's slap you up. I had a friend once, you know. A friend told me this story once, you know. This friend lost her sister. Her sister has two young children, you know. Maybe they were at the time age of 5, 6, around that time. And her sister, younger sister, died, you know, passed away. So of course, a group of Christians came, you know, and told her, oh, don't be sad, you know. God loves her more. Don't worry, God loves her. So, my friend was very angry. You know, what do you mean God loves her? What about these children now? What happened to these two children here? You know, right? So it's not timely lah. What you said is not timely lah. So must be careful lah. So my friend was very angry. You know, scolded them. You know, what do you mean when God loves her? What happened to these children now? You tell me. Then these young people didn't know what to do lah. Of course, they went back. They must have told the pastor, oh, I told them this. I got scolding. Next day they came. They apologized. They said, sorry, we are insensitive. So that's why we say very careful. Timely hearing of the Dhamma. Because during such occasion, we believe that all of them are receptive. But receptive to what? Receptive to what kind of Dhamma? That one is, we go on the case-to-case basis. We cannot just tell you outright like that. So we let us meet up more on these type of things. We must have more forums. Maybe we should get TBCM to organize more on this. TBCM is Theravada Buddhist Council of Malaysia. Maybe they should organize more forums on this. Good for us that way. Okay. Okay, verse number 9, blessing number 31. Self-control. It says here, tapo cha. Self-control here, what they are saying is, of course, you must control yourself, you must control your temper, you must control everything. But also here, what it means is self-control is to control the extreme practices, control the extreme practices. The two extreme practices the Buddha said when he first met the 5 ascetics. When the Buddha was enlightened, he went to look for his 5 friends, the 5 ascetics who have left him before. And what did the Buddha teach them first? The Buddha told them that these monks, these 2 extremes must not be practiced by one who have left the household life. Due me bhikkhave antapap bhajitena na sevitabba. You find this in Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta that we have discussed last month, I think. So it says the 2 things here that we do extremes, we don't practice. And what are the first extreme? The Buddha says, kama sukali kanu yogo. That is the addiction to indulgence of sense pleasure. Okay? You don't get too addicted to sense pleasure. And that you must leave. Okay? Okay? So the Buddha says, so this extreme, when we say self-control is to avoid these 2 extremes. Okay? Don't go too much for sensual pleasures. Because those days, I think I've explained to you, I'm not going to, because I don't think time will allow me to repeat what we have explained during Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. We say there are 2 extremes. Why? Because people don't believe in next life. So they think that after you die today means, liao lo, bo liao lo, why you worry so much? So enjoy life lah. Apa they gasak, what they get, they gasak, they don't care. Because there's no tomorrow. So that is what, there's the first extreme. The Buddha says you must avoid those extremes. You must believe that there is tomorrow. You cannot say there's no tomorrow. Why there's no tomorrow? So there are group of people last time during his time who doesn't believe in this, and they will go for all those enjoyment. They don't care lah. Die means die lah. No more life for tomorrow. Die means finish what? This body is finished. Soul finished, you say. So these are the people. So the Buddha says, kame sukali kanu yogo. That means you avoid this extreme of indulgence in sensual pleasures. The second indulgence, the Buddha says, is atta kila matanu yogo. That means this one is addiction to self-mortification. There are also people those days who believe that the cause of bad karma is the body. The body is the main cause of the bad karma. So what do? They torture the body, torture, thinking that when they torture the body, they get enlightenment. So the Buddha says you must avoid these 2 extremes. Self-indulgence, too much of sensual pleasures, and also to self-mortification. These 2 extremes are useless, the Buddha says. So here when he says, when you chant, when you come to stanza number 9, when you come to tapocha, brahmacharyancha. So tapocha, when you see the word tapocha means, avoid the 2 extremes. Self-restraint. Control yourself, avoid the 2 extremes. Don't go and follow things blindly. Okay, then number 31. Blessing number 32 is pure life. Brahmacharyancha, pure life. Okay, pure life means, Brahmacharyancha means, you understand, but you follow the 4 Brahma. You practice your 4 Brahma viharas. You practice your metta, karuna, mudita, and upeka. The 4 Brahma viharas must be practiced. So that means a pure life pure life like a Brahma. You follow the 4 Brahma viharas. And blessing number 34, it says, through these kind of blessings that you practice, like I've said, now don't think that these blessings are all very coarse, very base. Don't worry, brother, he doesn't help you, he help you next birth only, Sometimes we say that, blessings are only for next birth. Correct? Merits are only to help you in your future life, in your future birth. Sometimes we say that, we think it's like that. These are very coarse, not so high class, but not true here. You see here, it says, what the Buddha says is 34. What the Buddha says is, I will read the whole verse to you, and then we will sum it up, Verse number 9. Tapocha brahmacharyancha arya satchana dasanang. Nibbana Satchi Kiriyacha Etang Mangala Muttamang. The Buddha says self-control, pure life, Brahmacharyancha, perception of the noble truth. Oh, I missed 33. Arya Satchana Dasanang. Okay, that means the perception of the noble truth. Okay? And the realization of Nibbana. This is the highest blessing. So the Buddha says that through your practice of all these blessings, that we talk about, the greatest blessings we talk about, and you put in your self-control, you practice your pure life and perception of the Four Noble Truths. Okay, after all these blessings that we have gone through, self-control, no two extremes, Follow the 4 Brahma Viharas, okay? And perception of the Four Noble Truths, perception of suffering, perception of this. And that is realization, the Buddha says. Correct? So realization now. Correct? So when this happened, then the Buddha said realization of Nibbana. And here again it says, Puttasa loka dhammehi chittang yasana kampati. This is verse number 10. Asokang virajang kemang etang mangala muttamang. What does it say here? It says here, okay, that verse number 9, we have covered actually up to the 34, in the 34 blessings. But I would want to combine all these both together also possible. But never mind, we follow their way of doing that. So we got Tapocha Brahmacharyancha as blessing number 32, Arya Satchana Dasanang as blessing number 33, Nibbana Satchi Kiriyacha as number 34. Number 35, he says Puttasa Loka Dhammehi, whose mind is not fluttered by contact with worldly contingencies. What does that mean? You see, when you have a self-control, okay, when you live a pure life of the 4 Brahma Viharas, and you have a perception of the Four Noble Truths, that is a realization of Nibbana. So when you have realized Nibbana, what happened? These 8 vicissitudes in life doesn't affect you. That's what it says. Okay, it says here as those whose mind does not flutter. Blessing number 35 is the mind that does not flutter by contact with worldly conditions. What are the worldly conditions? We say are the 8 vicissitudes in life. Okay? In this life, we got 8 vicissitudes. Agreed? Eight vicissitudes in life, we have to remember. We have got gain and loss, right? Then we have got praise. When people praise you, they also will blame you one day, and blame. And then when you become famous, there's also disrepute. So these 4 pairs, that is the 8 things. So the 8 vicissitudes is your gain, followed by loss. Second vicissitudes in life. When there is praise, third vicissitude, there is blame. 4. Okay? And we say that when there is, what did I miss? Gain, loss, praise, blame, fame, disrepute, and pleasure and pain. Correct? So these 8 vicissitudes in life, you must be careful. Now, these 8 vicissitudes in life, these are the worldly conditions. In our life, we cannot get away from these 8, Today we feel very nice, very pleasure, a lot of pleasure, but tomorrow we will feel the pain. Okay? Pain is there also. Today we're young and handsome. Tomorrow become old and aged. Then all your bones start cracking. Okay? Don't forget that when you invest, there is always gain. Don't forget that sometimes you lose. So there's gain, there is loss. Or somebody wins, somebody has to lose. Right? This is conditions in life, conditions of this life. You cannot get away. Okay? Or we praise you today, besok we let go you like bawa bacang lah, you jatuh lah, we blame you. You must have read the papers lah. When somebody is successful, they praise them lah. But when they are not successful, they drop them lah, like bawa bacang lah. So that is life lah. Correct? You either get praised or you get blamed. And then today become famous lah. Oh, that fellow is very famous. You make a mistake tomorrow, they blame you again. So you become less famous lah, become defamed lah. Okay? So that is the meaning of the 8 vicissitudes in life lah. So what the Buddha says here is, the problem with this is actually is because the Buddha says in Anguttara Nikaya 8.6, what the Buddha says is because when an uninstructed, when an uninstructed worldlings like us lah, comes upon gain, when we get something, we don't reflect, that this gain has come to us as impermanent. We forget. We think it is permanent. That's why we become unhappy when we gain and we lose, because we do not reflect that this gain is not permanent. The perception of impermanence, I've explained like, in the earlier blessing, the perception of impermanence itself can be enlightenment. But we don't realize. Correct not? We only know when we gain, wow, we celebrate, untung, happy lah, we think, wow, there's no tomorrow lah, we enjoy ourselves. We forgot, that every gain will come with a loss. So when we lose, then we will say, oh, sakit lah, I lost money, correct? So that is because when this is suffering, because when this gain that has come to me is impermanent, we did not realize that. So most of us do not realize that when so all these things are impermanent. The Buddha says, bound with suffering, subject to change. He does not he does not know them as they really are. So when we get this gain, we shock lah, all life get elated lah. Then after that, when we lost, all dejected again lah. So also fame, correct? So this applies to all the 8 conditions in life, 8 worldly conditions. Okay, so don't forget the 8 worldly conditions, because when we get that, we forgot that these are impermanent. When we were born young and handsome, we forgot that this is impermanent. We will grow old. Correct? That is what it means here. And we get a lot of pleasure. Sometimes we say pleasure is pain. What do you mean pleasure is pain, brother? Pleasure is pleasure. Yes, tonight we mabuk, we happy. Tomorrow there's nothing but pain. Pocket surah kosong, or you get hangover. Right? Pleasure and pain, they are partners. Investment means you win or you lose. Right? Or somebody, you are the boss today, they praise you lah, you are the boss. When you lose your position tomorrow, they don't blame you lah. It's useless, that's why. So you must accept this life, these are things in life, And if you're famous today, oh, very good, brother. But when you have no more famous, you become disrepute lah. So this is what we are saying here. So you must be careful of this lah. So the verse number 35, it says, a mind that does not flutter by contact with worldly condition. Okay, we have covered. Now number 36, it says 36, 37, 38. We can recite together all in a go, which means, okay, verse number 10, we go. Puttasa loka dammehi, those whose mind does not flutter by contact of the worldly contingencies. What happened? They are asokang, that means sorrowless. They are virajang, that means they are stainless, and they are secure. They are kemang. Okay. So the Buddha says, Puttasa loka dammehi, chittang yasana kampati, asokang virajang kemang etang buddhana sasanang. So the Buddha says that this is actually enlightenment. When you have all these conditions, you become sorrowless, you become stainless, and you become secure. And this is actually enlightenment. And the final verse, that is a conclusion. I only go to verse number 10, then the number 11, I call it the conclusion. The conclusion is Eta disani katwana sabattama parajita. Sabatta soting gacchantitang te sang mangala muttamang. What does it mean? Is to them, fulfilling matters such as these are everywhere invincible. Nobody can disturb you. Nobody can conquer you anymore. You're everywhere invincible, in every way moving happily. Okay, you are going to be very equanimous and happy. And these are supreme blessings. Okay, so with that, we have covered all the 38 blessings. Etena sachavajena hotute jaya mangalang. Etena sachavajena hotute jaya mangalang. By this truth, may you all be successful and be blessed accordingly. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So we say again, Etena sajjavajjena hotu te jaya mangalang. By this truth, may you be blessed and successful. Etena sajjavajjena hotu te jaya mangalang. By this truth again, may you be blessed with highest blessings and be successful. Etena sajjavajjena hotu te jaya mangalang. By this truth again, may you be blessed and be successful. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. With that, I will conclude the Maha Mangala Sutta, and I hope, brothers and sisters in the Dhamma, that this will help you transform to be a better person. Seek these highest blessings and you will transform into this. Okay? So with that, now shall we do the closing sharing? Okay. With that, I have concluded, brothers and sisters in the Dhamma. What little I know about this sutta, I've shared with you. And during such moment, I think we have gathered abundance of merits, and these merits we should share with all the gods and devas that have blessed us and blessed our family members. May they all rejoice in these merits, and may they all eventually attain the perfect bliss of Nibbana. And by virtue of these merits, may they bless us with good health, longevity, success, happiness, prosperity, and above all, wisdom. Wisdom to understand the Buddha Dhamma, and wisdom to walk the Buddha's path. We also will dedicate these merits to our loved ones who have passed away, wherever they may be. We hope that they too can rejoice in these merits that we have accrued this evening by chanting on the Buddha Puja, and may they too eventually attain the perfect bliss of Nibbana. However, in the event if they need these merits for their spiritual well-being, may these merits reach them and help them in their spiritual well-being. And again, by virtue of these merits, may we be blessed with the company of the good and the wise always. May we not deviate from the teachings of the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Let's recite together. Akasatta Chabummatta Devanaga Mahidika Punyantang Anumoditva Chirang Rakhantu Loka Sasanang Ettavata Chammehi Sampadang Punya Sampadang Sabbe Deva Sabbe Bhuta Sabbe Satta Anumodantu Sappa Sampatti Siddhya Idang me nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Idang me nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Idang me nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Imina punya kammena mame bala samagamo. Satang samagamo hotu yava nibbana pattiya. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you for joining me, brothers and sisters in the Dhamma.
Thank you, Didi Leng Huat, for the inspiring talk. There's a lot of information. So we have to listen again to digest it. Okay, just a gentle reminder, tomorrow we are having Prago with us from Wat Palilai, Singapore. Bhante will be leading the guided meditation on Zoom and Facebook Live. The login info is available at MSPS Facebook. Do join us tomorrow. Okay. Okay, that's all for today. See you all tomorrow. Good night.
Sadhu, sadhu,
Bye.
sadhu.